Hello guys, it's Beretta here. So basically I've been playing Darksiders 3 on my stream quite a lot and I've really enjoyed it. I mean, it's basically another Dark Souls, and I know the meme is getting old, but it did feel like Dark Souls quite a lot. But yeah, I'm just basically gonna streamline the storyline so people can understand what's going on. I'm not really looking to go into details. Feel free to do that in the comments or at your leisure. I'm just going to use this spreadsheet over here, this Excel paper. I'm going to color code the games just so we don't get confused, I guess. But yeah, so we'll start with Darksiders 1. So basically at the start, War gets called in. The fake call by the Charred Council. So he gets spawned on Earth and then he gets set up to die. And obviously, he loses to the demon. To the big boy demon, or the chosen one, and then he ends up getting arrested, right? Now, at the same time that War gets arrested, that's when a lot of the stories come to play. So basically the start of Dark Souls 1 is kind of unique to its game. And then when War gets arrested, all the other games kick in. So basically Death's Crusade kicks in, Fury's Crusade kicks in. Just because, from playing Darksiders 3, we know that Fury is there when War is arrested. So yeah, this huge period here is where he's incarcerated. Basically, he's in prison, and then obviously he sweet talks his way, as one would do with the Illidan voice, to give himself a second chance to prove his innocence. And obviously the Charred Council wants this as an opportunity to make sure he goes on a suicide quest and never finishes it, thanks to, the Watcher. But obviously, if you guys know the ending of Darksiders 1, War is successful in retributing himself and killing the Watcher. Alright, let's go on to Darksiders 2. I know this felt like the longest game for you guys. I mean, it felt for me as well, just because there was so much grind and the world felt like much bigger, right? You went to so many different locations. It just felt amazing, but the story is very short. So Death finds out War is arrested. And, being the older sibling that he is, I guess, he's like, that's not the War that I know. He might be young, he might be the youngest, but he's the most honorable. So he's set on a crusade to get Death exalted from his crimes, from his sins, right? So he goes through his story, and then in the end he finds out that the only way for him to find retribution in saving Death's War's honor is by just killing himself and restoring humanity, right? So that's where this happens. So I don't know. So I don't really understand the point. I don't really understand the gap that I'm about to go on for Darksiders 3. So I'm just trying to point out that Death started being active when War got arrested. And his crusade didn't really last that long. Because we know that because Fury gets involved and she starts saving humans. And the only way humans can be alive is when Death actually sacrifices himself, right? So we know his adventure didn't really last that long, in like the broad timeline. Alright, so his story is brief and short. Now let's go on to Darksiders 3. So when War gets arrested, Fury is called because we see her taunting him at the start. And then there's a huge gap like I mentioned earlier here. So I don't know when's the last time I don't know what the time difference is between Fury being called and her going to Earth to start fighting the Charred Council's crusade. But yeah, so I mean, I guess she starts fighting the Charred Council's crusade way before that. But we're dropped on Earth around here, right? We're dropped here. We go find old Thane. He tells us, you know what? I know it's not your main primary duty, but feel free to save some humans. And obviously, Death's sacrifice worked. because you know there's humans alive on Earth. Because we know humans were basically extinct when the war got called at the start. So as war got called into Earth, by the time he got arrested, that was humanity extinct basically. So humanity got extinct here, and she started saving humans like way after. So obviously death's sacrifice, you know, it worked. So anyway, she starts saving humans. She goes on her crusade. You know, she finds out that the council is manipulating her. She starts rejecting that council, and then through the power of the Hollow Lord and Ulthane, from the guidance, I suppose, she ends up being the shepherd and defender of humanity. Yeah, and then she tells Ulthane at the end of her crusade, at the end of her game, to, you know, if she sees War, to help him out. So obviously when War starts his crusade, he later on meets Ulthane, but Ulthane needs to make sure that War is one of the horsemen. So that's why he tests him, I guess. But yeah, I mean, that's how I see it. I could be wrong, but that's how I simplify it for myself. So I hope this helps people out. But yeah, also the secret ending where you whether you choose to kill or save Abraxas and do not fight the Hollow Lord, you get, you know, the medallion that he leaves behind. And obviously this medallion contains crazy amounts of power because you get a secret ending. There's an omnipotent voice in the background as Lilith walks down the hall, and the voice says basically, you know, that they should have taken care of the angel that released the 6 seals, because he ended up being a traitor. So he ended up trying to play them. So, you know, I'm guessing he's speaking to the Charred Council at that point, and he tells them, you know, find a way to get rid of him. And that's when the Charred Council, I guess, at this point here, decides to send War on his crusade, or to agree with War and send him on a suicide mission, hopefully, you know, tying everything together and helping out the Charred Council and the secretive voice in the background. But yeah, the voice says, you know, he kind of predicts what War is going to do. He says, you know what, it's alright, I revel in chaos anyway. So I'm guessing he must be like a greater demon, like maybe Satan himself. Anyway, he says, I revel in chaos, and the final seal will most likely be broken. And from this point on, we go back to, you know, after Darksiders 3, we go back to Darksiders 1. Because as Fury's story ends, that's when War's story begins again. So that's when he's left free to go do his crusade to try and find out what's going on, right? So the predictions from Darksiders 3 end up going back to Darksiders 1 when War is released and the game begins. So as War goes on through his crusade to find justice and find out what happened, he ends up, you know, breaking the final seal. So death gets restored, and he ends up being resurrected at the end of Darksiders 1. And then Fury gets called back again from wherever she went to, you know, hide humanity. So she ends up being resurrected as well. And then for Strife, we know nothing about him, so I look forward to that. But yeah, hopefully this helped people out. It ended up being longer than I thought. But yeah, I appreciate it. Definitely show Darksiders some love, guys. It's a great story. It's a shame we had to wait so long for the next installment. Hopefully we don't have to wait another 6 years to see what Strife is going on. But I'm feeling him. You know, it's going to end up being like Dante with guns. It's going to be good, man. But yeah, I appreciate you all. Have a lovely time, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.